Welcome, folks, to the Santa Clarita Valley Leadership and Business Solutions podcast. I'm Paul Raggio.
And I'm Lisa Raggio, and we are with One True North Leadership and Business Coaching Solutions. And we are here today, tomorrow, and in the future to help you find your way. We are very proud to be partnering with The Signal to be bringing you a weekly webcast where we talk to community leaders making a big impact on the Santa Clarita Valley. We are so excited that today, Mayor Bill Miranda is joining us, and Bill is going to share some very exciting news with our listeners. So with that, Bill, welcome, and share with us, please, your exciting news.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited about the opportunity to partner with One True North and my Bill Miranda Leadership Center, and we're going to put together an executive roundtable. The executive roundtable is meant for the leaders of our community, the leaders of businesses and the leaders of organizations in our community. And the idea is to help guide you with leadership skills, to help you share your leadership skills with other leaders, and to really become the best organization you can become. So one of the things we're going to cover in the executive roundtable are topics such as the BMCs of leadership. And I talk about the BMCs of leadership. I might back off just a second, Lisa and Paul, and say I developed these over time, over a lot of time in the military, over a lot of time in the corporate world, and over a lot of time as an entrepreneur. And so what I put together in these BMCs of leadership are this. B is for body. You have to take care of your body. If you're going to be a leader, you have to take care of yourself. People look to you to lead. You have to be healthy, and you have to be prepared, and you have to be full of energy. And so to do that, we say things, look, make sure you're taking care of your diet and nutrition. Diet properly, use nutrition to help get your body up to speed. We also talk about exercise and activity. So exercise, not necessarily going to a gym and pumping iron, but regular walks maybe, right? And maybe some jogging here and there, bicycle riding, a bunch of fun things to get your body moving. But along with exercise, and this is something a lot of people don't do, Paul and Lisa, stretching. People don't know that a lot of the pressure points in your body, stress points, can be released and relieved very effectively with stretching. Now, by stretching, do I mean take yoga? Not necessarily, but you can take yoga if you want to, because that's super helpful. But you don't even have to do that. Just come out of the shower and stretch a little bit, all right? Stretch your neck muscles, stretch your shoulders, stretch your arms and your elbows, and squeeze your hands together, bend down and get your waist and back stretched, lean back and stretch them the other way, twist a little here and twist a little there, and boom, that takes what, 5 minutes and you've done your stretching. You don't necessarily have to do yoga, although I recommend yoga. The next thing, and that's body, okay? The next thing I talk about in the BMCs is mind. M is for mind. Put your mind in the right place. Have a positive outlook on life. The glass is half full, not half empty. So we talk about in the executive roundtable how to put your mind in the right place, how to have a positive outlook. Look, your followers are going to want to see someone who's optimistic, positive, and has a can-do attitude. You have to display that. That doesn't come naturally every day, every waking moment. You have to remind yourself, keep a positive attitude. We help you do that. We help you develop the skills to keep a positive attitude and leave with positivity. The C is for character. We shouldn't have to have a C in an executive roundtable, but we do, because we have to remind people how important it is to be of good character. Say what you mean what you say, do what you say you're going to do. People look at you and follow you if they can trust you, if they can believe that you're of good ethics and good character. And if you want to be a leader, you have to be of good, sound character. So that's just one example. I'm not going to go through the whole course with you right now, but that's one module where we talk about the BMCs of leadership, and we help top executives remind them of what it takes to be a good leader.
Yeah, and Bill, can you share, before we have all of us share our why, because Paul and I start everything with why. I think that's really important, and our listeners probably have come to know that. What is your one why for launching this executive roundtable?
Well, when I sold all my companies and went into the consulting business, I became a consultant, and I consulted worldwide, I might add, throughout Asia and China and much of Europe, Western Europe especially, and throughout the United States. I found that leaders need to be recharged on a regular basis. They need to be reminded on a regular basis what it took to get them into those leadership positions. So my why is to help those leaders, especially leaders here in the Santa Clarita area. My job and my why is to help those leaders remember what it took to get where they are and how to help get them to the next level of success. And if we can do that, we not only help those leaders, we not only help our local economy, but we help our community at large and make this a better community and a better place to live, work, and play.
Agreed.
What a great opening, Mayor Miranda, and we're just so excited to be partnering with you on this adventure. My why really goes back to our family roots in serving communities. And I spent 26 years in the Army serving, and then after that, I was brought on board by a large corporation to not only start, but then to run multiple other companies for 14 years. So my why is that I have a lot of lessons learned, and helping our business leaders in the community not make the same mistakes I made, or really exploiting some of the successes when it comes to scaling or growing a business. I'm passionate about wanting to pass those lessons on. And I had the opportunity to be in a roundtable environment for 14 of those years that I was running businesses, and found it just extremely helpful. And we'll be able to talk a little bit later about that in the podcast. But Lisa, share your why too, why this is so important to you.
Well, like Paul, so grateful for this opportunity to Mayor Bill Miranda and what we're doing. And the work that I've done for 20 years has been mostly in executive nonprofit management. And in that role, there's been plenty of times as an executive director that I felt very alone, not knowing who to go to really try and resolve significant issues in which there would be many people impacted, teams and clients. So I know the value of having there be a community that you can go to, that you can get the support in regards to the coaching, the peer advisory. That's our intention in regards to building this community. And I also know that we are in one of the most critical times now more than ever. There's a continuation. If you're going to be in executive leadership, you always have to be at the forefront of what's coming in regards to best practices. And so part of that is our commitment, three of us, in regards to staying at that forefront and sharing it with you and being a guide for you to prioritize what you can focus on, what you can maximize of your own potential, and look at what you can maximize of your teams. And last, before we share with our listeners some things that added to what Bill shared in regards to the BMCs of leadership, which will kick off our first workshop, is also my love for building leadership programs. So my background is in scaling best practice leadership programs. That's at the national level, at the local level. And so this is such an exciting opportunity to make a deep impact, to give where we live, and to be a part of helping our executive leaders leave legacies for being models for how you can lead. We need leadership now more than ever. And it's critical that we support our executive leaders in continuing to thrive. So there's some of my why. And we thought it would be a good idea too to share with you, break down a little bit of what it is that we would focus on in our first retreat. That's going to be on June 4th and 5th at Mandalay Bay and Oxnard. And we'll give you some information in regards to how you can find out more with OneTrueNorthCoach.com. But we wanted to share with you what the first theme is going to be, what upcoming themes are going to be, and then to give you a little taster teaser for what's to come at that first workshop. So the first workshop that we're going to be launching is going to be focused on leadership and communicating your vision. And Bill shared some background in regards to the BMCs of leadership, and it all starts there. Body, mind, character. You have to get that right and straight before you build on top of that. And then the other things that we're going to be focusing on are start with why and effective communications and communicating through crisis. And Paul, I thought this may be an opportunity for you to share why it's so important that we focus on that first.
You know, I've been in an executive coaching course for over a week now, and just talking about the foundational commitment statements associated with a business. And the purpose statement is elemental. And so being able to state why you're in business and how that draws a connection not only to the community, but to your customers, to your stakeholders, both internal and external. If you have a board, it's really drawing an association with the board. And most important, it gives your team a reason for coming to work, that they're inspired by it, that they have an understanding that this organization that you're leading has the opportunity to provide something, and it's meaningful and impactful to the community, as well as themselves. I mean, that's the incentive for coming in. So that really covers the why, and we talk about commitment statements, the importance of vision and mission, your goal setting and objectives. That's all part of it, but it really centers on why are you in business and what is it that you expect in terms of outcomes and providing services or products to the community and marketplace at large. The second real big chunk of topics that we'll talk about is all about communication. And I know just in my years in the military, as well as running businesses, multiple businesses, that the single most important thing I could do to help the organization was to be a very effective communicator. And that means I was clear, I was direct, I was purposeful, and I was inspirational in what I was communicating to my team. Those are all skills that can be learned and ought to be employed, especially as leaders. So when we're talking through some of these things, such as communication, we'll make it relevant. How have you communicated during the pandemic? What has that done for your business? How could you have communicated more effectively in terms of your marketplace? How could you have communicated more effectively with your employees? I mean, these are all issues that we want to tee up and then have an in-depth discussion with your peers and get their advice and how they navigated through some of this. That's really going to be the true value in this executive roundtable. And Bill, we want you to share some thoughts on this too, because we know that you've run roundtables like this in the past, as well as you've been a part of roundtables and the value that you received out of them.
Well, I think it's very important for us to convey to your viewers that this isn't just a we teach you experience. This is an experience where everyone learns from one another. So you're an executive of a large company, a large organization, if you will. You have some skills and you have some knowledge that some of us maybe don't have, or maybe haven't used in years. And so we want you to share that knowledge and those skills also. Everybody learns from one another. One of the values of an executive roundtable is that executives get to spend social time together. They get to know one another. They get to share experiences. But how many people have the same experiences as an executive? Not that many, but other executives do. So what a great opportunity to share the wealth of knowledge that a small group of people have, and that will help improve all of those organizations. So yes, we will talk about subject matters, but we are equally facilitators of the discussion that's going to take place among the people attending the executive roundtable.
That's a great
Communicate.
point.
Yeah.
That's a great
Go
point.
ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's part of community building and the power of executive peer support with one another. And it's very effective because then you're building a community where there's trust. There's an opportunity to exchange ideas, to have your peers tell you if it's a good or not so good idea, and helping one another. The other thing that you were really passionate about, and us as well, is that in this first one that we ensure that we have a conversation in regards to diversity and inclusion. And
Yes.
and that's another thing to just share right now with our listeners about that June 4th and 5th. In addition to what Bill was talking about with an experiential learning or sharing and exchange of ideas in that cohort, why is it important that we have that conversation about diversity and inclusion? That isn't, for obvious reasons, it goes deeper in regards to your focus.
Well, everybody thinks that they're a champion of diversity and that they're inclusive of everyone else. And that's well and good that they should think that way, but the reality is that's not the case necessarily. And so if you look at a number of organizations, whether they're in this community or throughout the country, how many of them have what I consider to be a fair share of minorities on their boards, women on their boards, people of different thinking on their boards. So if you look at all the boards of major companies across the United States, major organizations, even many nonprofit organizations, they're led by like-minded people, like-looking people. And if you talk to any of them, they will tell you absolutely unequivocally that they are diverse. They will tell you unequivocally that they're inclusive. They don't do it intentionally in the great majority of the cases, but by the way they recruit, and Lisa, you know this more than anybody else, by the way they recruit, where they recruit, that determines the kind of candidates they find. And so, you know, if I recruit in Esquire magazine, I'm going to get a lot of men applying for whatever job I have available. If I recruit in Women's Day or Cosmopolitan, I'm going to get a lot of women and maybe not a lot of men. If I recruit in you know, some of the inner city newspapers, then I'm going to get inner city people. I'm going to reach out. So the point is that in order to be diverse, in order to be inclusive, you have to do two things. One, reach out. You have to reach out to those other diversities, okay? You have to reach out to them. And number two, once you get them on board, you have to include them in the conversation. You have to include them in the decision making. You have to make it so that they can give you a meaningful contribution. And when that happens, again, you have a better organization, you have a better community. Yeah. And everybody is improved by that.
Yes. Yes, thank you.
These are, I mean, this is a great example of just an impactful topic that's going to be presented at the roundtable. And we're enthusiastic about the discussion that's going to occur as a result. And in thinking through this and wanting to come, we purposely chose a resort area, Mandalay Bay and Oxnard. It's on the ocean front, to give you a chance to get away from your day-to-day work operations, and the social setting itself will be conducive to dialogue with your peers. I mean, we want you to be in a comfortable, trusted environment where you can feel confident that if you have an issue that you want to raise concerning your business, that you're going to get valuable feedback from your peers about how they may have solved a similar type problem. This is so important, and it's a part of the context of the roundtable itself. So you'll have the opportunity to be with this group for these 2 days. We'll have some follow-up with this, and we encourage you to be members of this group over time, so you can help each other be accountable for the actions that you're going to take once you leave one of these sessions.
Yeah, before we come to, go ahead, Bill.
May I add that we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that right here on the screen is over 100 years of executive leadership experience. And that's a little daunting in some ways when I think of that. But
Bill, you're showing your age.
Well, I am, but Paul has been at the top of leadership in the military. He was stationed at the Pentagon for a number of years, and you know, having direct access to presidents and vice presidents and cabinet members, and Lisa, by the way, Paul and Lisa's dad was once the mayor of Glendale. So Lisa went, she didn't go the military route, but she went the nonprofit route, and really learned how nonprofits work and also how nonprofits don't work. All right. And so what valuable backgrounds, military, nonprofits, and corporations, entrepreneurs, which is more my background. And if you put that all together, when I was a young executive, I would have loved to sit down with Lisa and Paul and whoever was Bill Miranda at that time and learn from them. But it's not just learning from us, as I said before. You're learning from one another, and that is golden.
Yes, Bill, you said it so eloquently. You're right. There's more than 100 years here. And we also have this collective impact with our cross-sector backgrounds. And my experience is that that's so value added, that you can have the different sectors, what's the best of those sectors, and how can they influence each other. So we've got wisdom, we've got history, we've got experience, knowledge, and ultimately what we want to make is impact. And we want an opportunity to help our executive leaders thrive. And thrive means to be in a perpetual and committed state of maximizing not only your potential, but the potential that you bring then to your family, to your businesses, to your teams, to your community at large. So To find out more about this exciting new venture, we encourage you to go to onetruenorthcoach.com. On there, you're going to see a link in which you can click on it. It's going to take you to a landing page where you can find out all the information that you want and need to know. Our backgrounds and bios are on there, so you get a little bit more information in regards to the work that we've done. And you'll have a registration form there as well, and details regarding the agenda that we've talked about today for the 2 days, starting on Friday, June 4th, and concluding on Saturday, June 5th. So we really encourage you to go to onetruenorthcoach.com. Bill, we can't tell you how excited we are for this new venture, and Paul and I both appreciate and respect your leadership and your dedication to this community and all of those that you've served and continue to serve. So thank you so much for this unique opportunity.
Thank you, Lisa, and
Thanks, Bill.
thank you, Paul.